All right, so apparently third time's the charm, or we're going to have to fire our director, our camera crew here, because apparently now they were broadcasting sideways. So we're back once again. Rob Vico here with episode 51 of Rob Help My Marketing Sucks. And we're going to pick up where we left off from last Monday's episode, which was we were discussing Dr. Robert Cialdini's 6 triggers that influence human behavior and how we can use that in our marketing so that we can positively influence the buying decision of our prospects and clients. But before we jump into that, I do have a couple of announcements for you all. Outrageous Promotions, the company that I started almost 20 years ago now. We sell promotional products, screen printed and embroidered corporate apparel. And this is the season to use promotional items as a way to say thank you to your clients for their past, present, and future business. It is the perfect time to use nice gift baskets, nice high-end desk items. So whatever fits your demographic, whatever fits your brand, you can give us a call at 305-888-7301, or you can drop us an email, and we'll be more than happy to put together some items that you can use for your holiday gift giving to show appreciation to your clients in 2017. My Facebook group, Kick-Ass Marketing for Brick and Mortar Business Owners, is doing great. We're having a lot of fun in there. We're learning a lot. We're discussing marketing. If you want to join the group, just go over to, what is it? Kick-Ass Marketing for Brick and Mortar Business Owners. Sorry, trying to keep my thoughts so I can keep the show going. You can go there and join the group there, and then you'll have access to our 1-year anniversary episode, which is happening next Monday, the 23rd. That one's going to be at 6 o'clock, not at 2. It's going to be a little longer than our regular 30-minute episode. And I got some rock star marketers on there that are going to help us talk about funnels, Facebook advertising, how to run profitable Facebook groups, how to use public relations, how to use copywriting, how to take action, how to make more profits. So I got 9 experts lined up, and it's going to be a fun, value-packed episode, and that's going to be next Monday at 6 p.m., the 1-year anniversary of Rob Help My Marketing Sucks. All right, so let's kick off this episode like we do every week with the big-ass thank you of the week. The big-ass thank you of the week this week is going out to Jessica Carter. Jessica Carter is an expert on making videos. She's an expert on doing Facebook Live videos, and I reached out to Jessica because I am a little bit, as you can see, we had to start this episode 3 times before we got it right. So I'm a little bit concerned that I might mess this episode up for the 1-year anniversary with these 9 expert guests on there. So I reached out to Jessica for some tips, and Jessica actually offered to help me and run basically the behind the scenes of that episode, help me keep my time on track, as well as monitoring the comments and questions that are coming in. We are going to be doing live Q&A. So if you have a question about funnels, about Facebook ads, about PR, copywriting, Facebook groups, how to make more profits, not just more revenue, or how to take action, you're going to want to, you can send me those questions in before the show. You can email them to me at rob@outrageouspromotions.com, or you can drop your question in the comment, and I'm working on setting up a phone number where you can actually call in live and speak to some of these experts live during the call. So thank you, Jessica, for helping me out. I am very tech challenged, so I need all the help I can get. And I've kind of concluded that it's not so much that I'm tech challenged as I'm more tech impatient, where I just want to grab the laptop and kind of throw it across the room type of thing. So thank you, Jessica, for helping me out with that. All right, so let's pick up where we left off last week and get into this week's episode of Rob Help My Marketing Sucks. Last week we started to discuss Dr. Cialdini's book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. It's actually one of my favorite books. I've read this book about 5 or 6 times. I really, really love the psychology behind marketing, the reasoning why the marketing works, right? So you hear me talk a lot about how as small business owners, we need to focus on direct response marketing, not so much on brand marketing, because what we want is for our marketing to produce a result, our marketing to have a call to action and drive in the revenue so that we have a return on our investment. So not only understanding to use direct response marketing, but understanding why direct response marketing works, the psychology behind it, is one of the things that I find incredibly fascinating. So in his book, he's got 6 triggers that influence human behavior. And those 6 triggers are social proof, commitment and consistency, which we spoke about in last Monday's episode, reciprocity, liking, authority, and scarcity. Okay, he's got a little acronym to help you remember these, which I memorized because every time I write a marketing piece or I write a sales letter, I try to make sure that I have as many of these 6 triggers as I can logically incorporate into the marketing. So it's class R: commitment and consistency, liking, authority, social proof, scarcity, and reciprocity. Class R is the simple way to remember that. And today we're going to talk about liking and how do we use liking to influence our prospects. Right. So in the book, Dr. Cialdini explains the rule of liking, that we are more likely to comply with requests made by people that we like. That can range from our closest friends, which explains why we are that much more likely to purchase something recommended by someone else, or complete strangers that we find attractive. Okay, so people are more likely to say yes to those they know, like, and trust, right? So you've all heard the old saying, people buy from those they know, like, and trust. So how do we get people to know, like, and trust us? Well, there's a little saying in marketing that I say all the time, which is facts tell, stories sell. So if you want people to know, like, and trust you, you have to tell your story, right? As humans, we're fascinated by stories. We love stories. Our history goes back to storytelling. As kids, we loved getting a story read before bedtime. We loved reading stories. So you gotta incorporate these influential triggers into your story, because your story is what's going to get your prospects to know, like, and trust you. Okay, in a world where people have a lot of choices, your story may be the deciding factor. So what's your story? Right? As I go through the principles of the liking trigger, I want you to think of your story and how you can incorporate what we're about to talk about today into your story. If you don't have a story, you need to really start to put pen to paper and create your story. It's also called your origin story, your parable story. It's really what's going to help people connect with you. And I'm going to show you how to incorporate this all into your story. So he has 5 factors that powers the principle of liking. Okay, so the first one is physical attractiveness. The second one is similarity. Third is compliments. Fourth is contact and cooperation. And fifth is conditioning and association. And I'm going to give you some information and some tips on how you can use each one of these factors to influence liking. All right, so physical attractiveness. Good looks suggest other favorable traits: honesty, humor, trustworthiness. There's no way around it. We are more likely to pay attention to attractive people. It's the reason why sex sells. So whether you like it or not, that's just kind of ingrained in our human behavior. And we're either going to migrate towards people that we like, or we're going to migrate towards people that we are attracted to. Now, that doesn't mean always physical attraction. It could be attracted to their personality as well. So what you need to think about with physical attractiveness is to take it beyond just your own physical appearance and make sure that the physical appearance of your website, of your banners, of your flyers, of your catalogs, your trifold brochures, of all your marketing and all your branding fall into the liking and are attractive to your prospect. Okay? To enhance this, you can also use pictures of people. People like to see other people. Studies show that high converting images are those that show people's faces. Okay? So if you're camera shy and you don't want to use your own face, which is what I would highly recommend, then at least use some stock image of people. Maybe some of your staff members wouldn't mind being photographed and being used in your marketing, but we connect with other people, so that's going to draw, it's going to pull people in, and it's going to convert much better. And then this is one point that most of us don't think about. Which is creating an attractive social media presence. Okay? People are interacting online. People are interacting on social media. Social media is the new virtual water cooler at the office, right? So you want to be on social media, you want to be active, you want to be positive, and you want to put out an attractive persona in your social media, okay? So if you're using your social media to complain all the time, if you're using your social media to moan about politics or Trump or Hillary, or if you're using social media just to kind of put random information on your product or services, that's not going to work. You need to be more purposeful with the way you're using your social media so that it's attracting the kind of prospects that you want to work with your business, attracting the kind of people that you would want to hang out with. All right. So let's go into number 2, similarity. In similarity, Dr. Cialdini says, we like people similar to us in terms of interest, opinions, personality, backgrounds. Ever notice how people who like the same sports teams have a natural connection? Or even people who drive the same car? Or people who have their kids are in honor roll, or their kids play soccer. There's so many things that connect us, that bond us, that make us similar to others, and we tend to gravitate towards that. As the world becomes more social, brands that behave like corporations, that feel cold and unrelatable, are going to have to adapt. Forrester's did a study, and it shows that 81% of consumers say they do not trust branded websites. 81% of people do not trust branded websites, which is a pretty fascinating stat. It's for someone like me who's into funnels, and within ClickFunnels, one of the conversations always is that it seems that the ugly funnels tend to work better than the pretty, beautiful branded funnels, and that might be a reason why. It might be that people have an immediate distrust of corporate America. They have an immediate distrust of the big brands. So when they jump on a landing page and they see a landing page that looks a little homemade, that looks ugly, it's not slick and polished, maybe that makes a connection with them that this is another person, and they're able to connect in a different way because their guard is put down. They're not so suspect or skeptical of the big brand. I'm gonna put that in the ClickFunnels group and start a discussion because I think it's pretty fascinating. Right. So in contrast, we might prefer to purchase from a brand that interacts with their customers in an empathetic way, in a more human way. That's why branding is of such importance. Brands are starting to realize that in order to earn customer loyalty in this new era, you can't behave like a brand, you have to behave like a friend. If your customers feel that they can relate to, that you can relate to them and understand the problems they are facing, they can begin to think of you as a friend. Hey, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how do we use similarity and how do we use what we just learned about people wanting to connect with other humans and not with corporate brands, right? So the first thing is the affinity, okay? So if a brand has an affinity towards something, then use that affinity because that's going to draw in other people, okay? So a good example, right? Let's say you're in sales and you are a soccer mom, okay? You can use that to your advantage. You can talk about soccer this and soccer that and my kids, and that may be drawing other people in the business-to-business corporate world that may be needing your product and service and are also soccer moms, so they can immediately have a connection with you. They immediately have a similarity with you, something in common, something they like about you, all right? Another way to do that is let's talk for a second about the distrust people have of the big brands, okay? And how that's kind of flipped, because I remember when I started my business in 1999, for many years, in the beginning, we used to position ourselves, okay? I mean, for lack of a better way of putting it, we used to pretend that we were a much bigger company than we really were, okay? So if you called our offices, and there's 3 of us in the office, and you said, hi, I'm calling because I need to get a copy of an invoice, instead of saying, let me transfer you to Jackie, I would say, let me transfer you to our accounting department, right? Let me speak to our production manager. Let me speak to our shipping department. We did all of these things because we wanted to make our company seem bigger than it really was. We wanted to have more credibility, seem more established than we really were. But that all shifted, and it started to shift for me around 2008. A lot more of the big discount websites were popping up and becoming competitors. And we started to realize by 2010, 11 or so, I started to realize that people, while they can get these items cheaper on these big discount websites, people are not necessarily enjoying that experience. People want to talk to another human being. People want to be guided and helped in selecting the products. They want to know that you can send them samples or stop by their office. They can touch and feel. So at that time, we had also shifted our target market, right? So we decided that we were going to focus on small business owners and not corporate America, because with small business owners, we can add a lot more value. We can truly help that small business owner market and promote themselves. So we're going to be more valuable. We're not going to be competing on nickel and diming and competing against these big cheap websites. So we changed all of our positioning so that we no longer acted like we were this big company. Now we acted like we were a mom and pop business because we wanted to relate to other mom and pop small businesses, right? We started to make it more known that my wife and I run the company together. Before that, it was Robert Vico and my wife Christina went by her maiden name of Arce, so that it didn't seem like, oh, this is just a small mom and pop business. Now we've shifted all of that, understanding that people want to go back to that human experience, understanding that if we're going to work with small business owners, other small business owners are going to relate to us as small business owners. They're going to relate to us as a husband and wife team. They're going to relate to us as people who built this on their own, the struggles and the headaches and frustrations that we deal with as small business owners. So it creates a bond. It creates a similarity, a likeness between us. Compliments. We love to receive praises and tend to like those who give it. My wife loves to get compliments, and I think that's why she loves me, because I like to give her compliments. See how that whole thing works? See? Compliments shine the spotlight on your fans, so do it regularly and make them feel happy and appreciated. So, couple of little things you can do there, right? People love to give compliments, so prompt them to give you compliments. How do you give a business a compliment? You give them a compliment by sending them a testimonial, by writing a review on Yelp or on any of these review sites. Referring someone would be a compliment. So if people love to do it, are you finding a way encouraging them to send you a testimonial, encouraging them to send you referrals, encouraging them to go give you reviews? Now, remember in the last Monday's episode, I talked to you guys about consistency and commitment, and I talked to you about one of the strategies that we use here in my business, which is immediately prompting the customer. After receiving their order, we do a phone survey. After the phone survey, then they get requested to write a testimonial for us. The reason we do that, obviously, we want to know how we're doing, and we want to get testimonials to provide social proof to potential new businesses that we're the right company for them. But we also do it because of consistency and commitment. When you get that client to tell you how happy they are with your product and services, how happy they were with the delivery or whatever it is that you're selling, it creates that consistency and commitment in their mind that you are a good company to work with and that they will continue to work with you. So this one really going to serve two purposes for you. It's going to provide you the testimonials and the reviews that can use to draw in prospects, and it's also going to help you keep your existing clients loyal to you. Contact and cooperation. We feel a sense of commonality when working with others to fulfill a common goal. Another aspect of making a brand more human is to have a voice. This is what your story does for you. Your story gives your business a voice. It gives your business a personality. It allows people to connect with that story. So, when you share or talk about your brand, especially on social media, people like to be able to feel that they're talking with someone that's famous. So if you have a good social media following, if you're what we refer to as a social media influencer, then take some time out to reply to people. Take some time out to hit a like or drop a comment, because it's going to make them feel that they are in contact with you, that they are building a relationship with you and with your business and your brand. So social media is not a broadcasting platform, okay? You got to use social media to create relationships, to create conversations with your customers, not to just post about you, or to just bitch and moan like so many people do on social media, right? And when you're writing your social media posts, when you're writing your sales letters, when you're writing your story, very, very important that you write the way you talk, that you write as if you were having a conversation with someone. For whatever reason, not for whatever reason, I think I know the reason was English class in college. The reason why so many of us feel that they don't like to write, or I don't know what to write, I don't like to write, I get that a lot, is because you want to write the way you were taught to write in college. So when people tell me, I don't do good at writing, I said, do you do good at talking? Do you know how to talk? Okay, then talk and write it out. Have a conversation. Pretend someone is sitting in front of you and you're having a conversation. If you like, I'll sit in front of you and we can have the conversation, record it, and then get it transcribed. So my point is, be transparent, be authentic, be genuine, be yourself. Don't use big corporate lingo. Don't use jargon. Don't use technical terms. You want to be able to relate to someone as if you were just sitting down at Thanksgiving dinner telling your long lost uncle that you haven't seen in years all about your business and why you started it, okay? And the last one is conditioning and association. We like looking at models and thus become more favorable towards the car behind them, right? So you like looking at the beautiful blonde model and she's standing in front of a car, it makes the car look more attractive to us, okay? Sometimes we like someone not because of their personality, not because of their looks, but because of what they stand for, okay? This is another great reason why you have to incorporate your origin story, your parable story, your why story into your marketing, because people are going to be able to connect with you if you stand for something, right? We respect and like people when we know that they are working towards the same ideals as we are. What some fans like about Apple, as an example, is that they are concerned about the environment, that they are constantly working to making their products more environmentally friendly. Okay, so if you're an environmentalist, you would be a little more gravitating towards Apple phones than a Samsung phone, let's say. Okay, so this part here, when you want to talk about something that you stand for, okay, this is what I call the superhero copy, the superhero positioning, okay, which means, do you have a reason why you started your business? All right, let's use this let me give you guys an example. When I bought this business in 1999, it was named Captured Glory. We recently, the beginning of this year, rebranded as Outrageous Promotions. And part of that rebranding was the book that I wrote, Outrageous Promotions That Are Outrageously Effective, right? And part of why I wrote this book was because being in the promotional products business, I know that 90% of the businesses out there that are just ordering promotional items and randomly giving them away are throwing their money out the window. That's not effective. That simply does not work. To just pull up to a trade show and hand out 500 random items does not work. And I got tired of seeing small business owners not generating a return on their investment. I got tired of seeing small business owners, of which I am one, and we work our asses off, spending their money on something that was not going to get them any result. And I also got tired of hearing small business owners moaning to me that promotional products don't work. So I became the superhero of the promotional products industry. Why and how? Well, why? Because I can no longer live with myself knowing that I'm selling a product to businesses that are going to get no result using it unless they use it the correct way. So now I'm the superhero of the industry. I've even changed my company name because I'm going to turn this industry on its head. I want to teach small business owners how to create effective, outrageously effective marketing campaigns using the power of promotional products. So I become the superhero of our industry. I used this example a while back with a friend of mine. He works with a roofing company. Right? Roofing companies, like moving companies, right? They got a bad rap. They're known to kind of be a little deceitful. So if you're a moving company and you are the honest moving company, you can become the superhero of that industry. You could talk about how you built your business because you got tired of moving companies ripping people off, of holding their goods hostage, charging storage fees and all this other BS, and you could no longer sit by and watch that happen. So you started your business, the ethical moving company, let's say, something like that. I'm going to go in, show you a couple of examples of some items that have cool stories behind them, and then I'm going to give you a little story formula to help you write your story. All right. So this is Snappers, and this is the brownie crumble people, or the brownie brittle people, right? And they got these stories back here. Snappers was inspired as a childhood. Growing up, we watched our parents make our favorite chocolate turtle confections at the family chocolate factory. This one too, Sheila had a passion for chocolate. She loved baking, took a treasured family recipe for fudge brownies and baked her way into a thriving business. This is the story of Maybelline, which I didn't know the story about Maybelline. So it was Mabel Williams. She created this eyelash thing, Lash Brown, and then she merged her company, or that product, Lash Brown, merged with Vaseline, and they became Maybelline. I didn't know that. Here's the story of the Cliff Bar, how he came up with the Cliff Bar. This guy's got a great story, Dave's Killer Bread. I don't know, and by the way, the bread is really good, but all the bags of bread have his story on them. It's a pretty cool story. The guy spent 15 years in prison. In prison, he worked baking the breads in the prison, and when he got out of prison, he went to what he knew and started Dave's Killer Bread, and it's a national brand at this point. And then I got a more simple story of my friend Mike, who's actually going to be on the 1 year episode show talking about e-commerce. And he wrote his story in an actual book called From Prison to Prosperity. Mike did 10 years in prison. He got out and changed his life around and now runs a successful $1 million e-commerce and teaches other people how to build their own e-commerce stores. So these stories connect you. They become authentic. They allow you to know, like, and knowing and liking starts to build the trust. So you got to use the power of liking in all of your marketing, right? Now, before we go, I do have a little formula here for your story, right? Copywriting is not that difficult if you follow simple formulas, right? I've mentioned one of the formulas that I love the most, which is problem, agitate, solve. So when you're going to write your sales letter, you talk about your problem, your next couple of paragraphs, agitate that problem, and then your closing paragraph is your product or service is a solution to that problem. So in your story, the way you want to tell your story is you want to start with as it was. You want to start with where you were, what your frustration was, what was your pain, what was the low point in your life, what was the dilemma that led you on this journey to starting this company. So the next thing you want to talk about then is the journey. The journey is your breakthroughs, your discoveries, your aha moments, that moment of clarity when you figured it out, when you put all the pieces to the puzzle together. And then the resolution is how the point you were in your life, the aha, the breakthrough moment now provides a solution, and that's why I started this company, okay? That's the same story, okay? As is, I used to sell people promotional products, t-shirts, and embroidery, right? The breakthrough, the aha moment was when I realized that if we take promotional items and we incorporate it with direct response marketing, we get an outrageously effective promotion. And then the solution was my book, was my products, my services, to how a small business and create an outrageously effective marketing campaign, okay? So as it was, the journey, the resolution to the journey. Take those three things, follow that formula, and you'll be able to write your story. And as always, I will close it out with letting you know, and once you write your story, if you want to get a little feedback, email it to me, drop it in the comments, send it to me Facebook Messenger, and I'll be more than happy to give it a quick read and give you some feedback on how to use your origin story, your why story, your parable story to positively influence the behavior of your prospects. All right? Don't forget, jump into my Kick-Ass Marketing Facebook group. Pun intended, but that group is pretty kick-ass. And I'll see you all next Monday, October 23rd at 6 p.m. for the 1 year episode of Rob Help My Marketing Sucks with my 9 kick-ass expert guests, Robert Vico. I'm signing out. See you next Monday.